Hey, what's happening, guys? Back again with a very important lesson today as we learn about another component of the ukulele in terms of um, teaching the basics. Okay, so far we've touched on simple chords, and one other very fun part of learning this instrument is the addition of some melody lines or some tablature, so some tabs as we play some different riffs. Okay, so what I'm going to introduce you to today is how to read tab, also known as tablature. Okay, tab, you might have seen it before, but in guitar or ukulele world, tab, T-A-B, is short for tablature. Okay, and it's a very important tool for us as we try and progress with our journey on this instrument. It's going to be very helpful, and it'll be really kind of a great thing for us to bring some songs to life as well. A lot of my students will be combining tabs or riffs with some rhythm. So it's a good little combination. We're going to work towards that today as well. So let me introduce you to tablature. It's always a little bit strange when I'm here with the sheet. I know I could easily kind of put it onto the screen so you're looking at it that way, but this way it's almost like I'm teaching it and I'm really able to point things out, whereas if I was just talking over a slide or talking over something, I feel like I wouldn't quite get that message across, and I want to make sure that you understand exactly what we're talking about. So just to confuse us even more, what they've got here, whenever we're reading a tab, we're looking at these 4 lines. Now, what do you think these 4 lines could be? You got it, it's the strings. Okay, so we've got string 1, string 2, string 3, and string 4. Okay, and I've done the same to show you what it would kind of look like on the ukulele, and for once, it kind of looks weird. It is upside down, so it's weird. I don't know why they didn't do it the other way around, but that's just how it's always going to be written, so we need to keep that in mind when we're reading our tab. Okay, so here I've numbered for you each of those different strings, and I've also included the notes that would be part of those strings, as you already know. So we've got G, C, E, and A. Good children eat apples. Okay, so what else are we looking at here? We're looking at some numbers that appear on these different lines, and of course, as I said, the lines are the strings. So what could these numbers be? The numbers are the frets. Okay, they're not the fingers this time. We're talking about the frets. Okay, so here it goes. This is just a simple scale. We're going 3, 2, 0, 3, 1, 0, 2, 0. And we read it just like we'd read a book, from left to right across the page. And what you're going to do is you're going to play whatever comes first. Alright, so you're playing across and adjusting to whatever comes first as you go from left to right. So remember, these are the frets. Okay, so to start with, our first note that we hear is going to be on the first string in the 3rd fret. Okay, so it's going to be 3, 2, then we've got 0. And what does the 0 mean? All my students at home be going, I know that. Oh, I know, Mr Wilko. The 0 means just play that string open. 3, 2, 0. Let's listen to what that sounds and looks like on the ukulele. Of course, that sheet is one that's going to be available for you to check out and to download as well. So we're on the first string, and remember, this time when you're learning, the finger's not important for this. Okay, eventually you'll get better at using different fingers, and I'll certainly encourage that you do that. But to start with, you can do these patterns just using any finger, whatever's comfortable for you, because for once we're just playing individual strings. Okay, so we would be going 3, 2, 0. That's that first part of that simple tab. 3, 2, 0. Okay, let's look at what the next part was. It's me. So we've got 3, 2, 0. Then onto the second string, we're going to be going 3, 1, 0. So let's try and put that together. 3, 2, 0. That's all on that first string. I'll bring this up a bit. 3, 2, 0. Then I go to the second string. 3, 1, 0. Let's do that again. 3, 2, 0. 3, 1, 0. Try again. 3, 2, 0. 3, 1, 0. Just working through that. And the next part, it ends with a 2 and a 0 on the third string. Let's look at it. 3, 2, 0 on the first string. 3, 1, 0 on the second. And then 2, 0, and that appears on the third string. So the second fret and then open. Okay, so here we've got second fret and then open. Open being just the open string, just plucking it all by itself. That happens on the third string. Okay, so let's look at what it looks and sounds like. Here's my thumb just plucking just that string. 3, 2, 0, 3, 1, 0, 2, 0. Ba, 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 ba. Again. Hey, so one of the coolest tunes that amazingly so many kids and so many people are aware of is Smoke on the Water. It's a cool tune, and if I tell kids the name of that, they don't necessarily know what it is, but the minute they hear it, they recognize it. And it's just because it's one of those entry-level beginner things that really kind of, whether it's guitar or ukulele, everyone's kind of learning. So it's a good place for us to start as well. So I'll show you what that looks like. Now, to play it based on the proper notes, I put the notes up here. These are the positions that we'd be in. Okay, now whenever something's just on one string, you could get away with playing that pattern of frets on any string. When it crosses over a few strings though, that's when it's going to be a bit of a problem. Okay, so if it's all on one string, like this is, you could do it on the first string, the second, the third, or the fourth. It wouldn't matter. Okay, so I've put it on the second string because that's the truest to the sound of the notes from this song by Deep Purple. Okay, Smoke on the Water. So it starts 0, 3, 5, 0, 3, 6, 5, 0, 3, 5, 3, 0. Okay, there we are. It's telling us that these are all the frets, reminding us, and we're on the second string. Let's have a look at what that sounds like as it comes together. Okay, so just on one string. I'll start on the string that it's supposed to be for this one, on the second string, but you could start up here on the fourth, third, second, or first, whichever one's more comfortable for you. I might start on the first just for you to have a listen. Okay, so I go 0, 3, 5, and the next part 0, 3, 6, 5, 0, 3, Okay, when you get pretty good at that, then you can progress up through some of these other strings and see how it sounds there for you as well. Let's just also point out while we're here and while I notice it, your ukulele might have these dots. They're just as a reference or a guide for us when we do things like this, when we're working with different notes up and down the fretboard. This is called the fretboard. These are a good reference point for us. Okay, it's easy for us to recognize some of these first few frets, but when we get down and they start getting smaller, it's quite helpful to have these dots. Now you may have dots on the front, or you may have them on the side of your instrument. This one doesn't have them on the side, but yours might have them, probably starting on the 5th fret, going to the 7th, and then where are we down here? 5, 7, 10. Okay, and then 12 being the last fret before we get to the body if we're on a soprano. Soprano being this small, the smallest ukulele. Okay, so let's look again. Just on this first string. 0, 3, 5. Using that dot as a reference. 0, 3, 6, 5. 0, 3, 5, 3, 0. Don't forget, this will be in the downloads. You'll be able to check it out for yourself. Okay? Just with one finger, then you'll get better trying to use more. Okay, have a little practice of that. Now, one thing that we do know about tab or tablature is that so much of it comes down to your awareness of the song itself. If you don't know what you're trying to make something sound like, it's going to be a bit tricky. So just fortunately, as I mentioned before, a lot of kids do know that tune, Smoke on the Water. But if it's a different tab, something that you've not seen ever before, or you don't recognize the song, it is going to be tricky for you. So often good to familiarize yourself a little bit with what it should sound like. So I'm often choosing ones that are recognizable for kids and trying to bring it to life that way. You'll see that once we include one of the songs that we're going to be doing in a video shortly after this. Alright, so hopefully you went well with your pattern of notes on the fretboard. 0, 3, 5, 0, 3, 6, 5, 0, 3, 5, 3, 0. Alright, hope you went well with that.